You know, over the past 4 years, President Trump has broken new ground for the sanctity of human life. Not only here in America, but literally around the world. Tax dollars have stayed out of the abortion industry, both home and abroad, thanks to the Mexico City policy being reinstated and expanded. No longer are taxpayers in America being forced to fund abortion or organizations that promote it abroad. And of course, the Hyde Amendment here, although under tremendous assault, the president has protected it and expanded the protections for the unborn. But here, I want you to hear. I want you to hear from his own lips what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have basically pledged on the campaign trail. So we should not be surprised when they make out their list, and at the top of their list is to promote abortion. Here's what Joe Biden said when he was candidate Joe Biden on the trail.
The reason why I affirmatively came out opposed to the Hyde Amendment was that if we're going to have public funding for all health care along the line, there is no way you could allow for there to be a requirement that you have Hyde Amendment. A woman who doesn't have the money could not have coverage under health care.
Well, I'm glad.
Number two, and I've done that. I did that a while ago, okay? Number one. Number two, I would send immediately to the desk of the United States Congress when I'm elected president, if I'm elected president, a codification of Roe v. Wade amended by Casey, because I think it is a woman's right to choose. I think it's a woman's opportunity to be able to make that decision.
There are states that keep passing these laws, and when elected, I'm going to put in place and require that states that have a history of passing legislation that is designed to prevent or limit a woman's access to reproductive health care, that those laws have to come before my Department of Justice for a review and approval, and until we determine that they are constitutional, they will not take effect.
Well, joining me now to talk about what will be, if we have a Biden administration, what will be their policies as it pertains to the sanctity of human life and their pledge to resurrect and expand the Obamacare policies that the president, Vice President Biden and President Obama foisted upon America a number of years ago. Joining me now to talk about this, Senator-elect Roger Marshall, Dr. Marshall, member of Congress at present, serving as congressman for District 1 in Kansas, but soon to step across the hall, the rotunda, to serve in the United States Senate. Roger, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Tony. It's great to hear your voice again. I hope you and your listeners had a great Thanksgiving. And, boy, those words are scary. When you listen to Vice President Biden's own words and then Senator Harris's words as well, they're scary. And it just brings up to the forefront how important it is we win those two Senate elections down in Georgia, that we have to protect this majority in the Senate, the Republican majority, or those words will become law. And I know your listeners will want to be talking about this and make sure that we stand up to protect the sanctity of life.
Without question, I think pointing to the outcome of what's happening in Georgia, where we've got a runoff election there January the 5th, 2 Senate seats, which will decide the control of the United States Senate, whether or not the Democrats have control of the White House, the Congress, and the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. So critical what's happening there in Georgia. By the way, I want to congratulate you. I don't know that we've actually spoken. I think we've texted, but we haven't spoken since your victory there in Kansas. So congratulations on your election to the U.S. Senate.
Thank you so much, Tony. And again, thanks to your listeners, the people that believe in Christian values in Kansas got out and voted. My opponent was not just pro-abortion; she was radically pro-abortion, in favor of dismemberment abortion. She's personally invested in giving to Planned Parenthood. It's in her estate planning, all those types of things. So I appreciate all your listeners who got out and supported us, and we pledge that we're going to be a strong voice to protect the unborn.
I want to talk specifically about some of the proposals that are on the top of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's to-do list. We mentioned one of them, Mexico City, immediately wanting to, by executive order, eliminate the Mexico City Also, we talk about Title X funding, that is family planning funding, in which President Trump put what's called a line of separation between organizations that do abortions and receive government money under Title X for family planning. That's going away, pledging more money to Planned Parenthood. This is going to be a radical change in policy under a Biden administration from what we've seen in the last 4 years.
Exactly. You're right, Tony. What the Mexico City ruling was is that the United States will not be given taxpayer dollars to nonprofit organizations who participate or refer to abortions. As you can imagine, we were basically funding large abortion clinics across the country. President Reagan came out with this, and essentially it's been back and forth. One of Republican presidents protected it, and then Democrats taken it away. So under the Obama, now Biden administration, it's just the next chapter of that same book. We'll be using federal dollars to help fund abortion clinics across the world. Then the Title X funding, when I think of Title X funding, I think about funding for the health departments across the country. I used to supervise, was the clinical director for health departments, as well as the community health centers. And the whole purpose of those were to do pap smears, breast exams, the STD testing, family planning. And what Biden wants to do is now use monies and allow people that participate in abortions and refer to abortions to be getting access to those dollars again. And I'm just telling you, it's just almost impossible to sit there and look at Planned Parenthood and say, okay, this is the family planning side and this is the abortion side. There may be a wall there to divide them, but it's all one same company. I saw it over and over again as an obstetrician. A little 16-year-old girl walks into Planned Parenthood for a pregnancy test and a pap smear, and the next thing you know, she's being scheduled for an abortion without her permission. So we need to stand up here. This is a moment that we all need to stand up and say, wait a second, that's not how we want federal dollars being used.
So, Congressman Marshall, as a doctor, I assume that your committee assignments, you're going to be somewhere near the HELP committee. You're going to be involved in healthcare issues in the United States Senate, as you have been in the House. One of the areas that Biden could expand abortion without the Senate, without Congress, would be through the FDA and its approval of drugs like mifepristone, the abortion pill. Allowing for greater access to that over the counter or in pharmacies. What do you see as a way forward in protecting women from this dangerous, life-ending drug?
Right. Well, I think we need to hold the FDA accountable, and certainly they get their supervision and their funding from Congress. So we need to make sure that we don't expand that type of a drug to an over-the-counter, just like birth control pills should not be over the counter as well. Because you're right, these drugs do have long-lasting side effects. They cause hemorrhaging and bleeding, obviously, and other complications. So we need to make sure that only physicians can prescribe those, and make sure the FDA adheres to just the strictest standards to protect patients.
So, Congressman Marshall, do you see Republicans playing as hard as the Democrats did in trying to stop President Trump and everything that he did? I mean, if the Democrats did it, blocking the president and I'm talking about, legitimate measures. I'm not talking about making up the things that the Democrats did, but they played hardball, trying to stop this president at every turn. Do you see the Republicans doing this with Joe Biden?
Absolutely. I've got full faith in Mitch McConnell on the Senate side, Kevin McCarthy and the team on the House side, absolutely standing up to the president and slowing down all that work he's going to try to do with a pen and a telephone, as President Obama once said. So absolutely we will be.
All right. Congressman Roger Marshall, Senator-elect Marshall, thanks so much for joining us today. And again, congratulations on your election to the U.S. Senate.
Thank you so much, Tony. God bless you.